Hey guys, it's Chantel and welcome back to the Spooky Library. So today's video, I am super excited. I was gonna do just like a monthly TBR video, but I decided to break it up because there's a couple of readathons that are happening in the month of September, and I just kind of want to do Readathon TBRs. And then whatever else I pick up to read will be in vlogs or whatever. So today I am bringing you my Mystic Readathon TBR. I am so excited for this readathon. I am a big fan of the Vampire Diaries. So when I saw that this was a thing, I had to hop on the opportunity to participate. I do want to show you guys the spread that I made, because I am completely obsessed with it. So you have the host and the co-host, and then the cards that they have going on, and then my TBR, which I might add what I read on the back of this, and then you have the prompts, and then some, Vampire Diary pictures. So with that, I want to just get right into it. So I picked Team Vampire because why not? Vampires for the win. Anyway, there are a total of 4 vampire prompts and 8 community prompts. And I want to go over my TBR for all of those prompts, plus some extra add-on books that I could swap if I need to. Starting off with the community prompts, we have written by a BIPOC author, and I went with Vampires of El Norte by Isabella Canes. I got this in my Book of the Month box for August of 2023, and I meant to read this as I got it for spooky season last year, but I just never got to it, so I would really like to get to this one this year. It would be a perfect starter, to get in the mood for spooky season, and it fits a prompt in this readathon. So I am so excited to finally get to this. Okay, the next prompt is a Black or Indigenous main character. And for this one, I've been seeing this series kind of all over the place. I've seen it on Instagram Reels, I've seen it on TikTok, I've seen it in my library system. And that is Minion by L.A. Banks. This is Vampire Huntress Legend Book 1. I mean, it sounds amazing. And like I said, I've been seeing it everywhere, and I would just like to, get into it and see what it's all about. Okay, so the next book is a book that is set in Georgia or in Virginia, and I went with Fallen by Lauren Kate. I have had this book on my TBR for quite some time now. I believe I got it at a used book sale at a library or, a used bookstore when I was younger, as it is a YA novel. And I, for some reason, didn't pick it up right away, and I don't know why, but it's finally time to pick it up, and I just love this cover. And I just want to pick it up and finally see what it's all about. I do own the whole series, so I wouldn't mind getting to the whole series as well. Okay, so the next book prompt is a book that has the word curse in the title, and I went with The Vampire's Curse Royal Coven by J.R. Thorne. It is the Royal Coven's book 1 through 3. I have been seeing this author everywhere. I believe I follow her on Facebook and Instagram, and her covers are always just so eye-catching, and I haven't read anything by her yet, so this is just the perfect opportunity to finally get to this. So I am so excited. This cover is absolutely stunning, and it's just a perfect fit for this prompt in my opinion. So the next prompt is read a book with an LGBTQ plus main character, and I went with Bound by Blood by Jordan Lane. This is the first book in the Soulmate series. I believe this is a male-male romance, so I thought it would, fit perfectly for the LGBTQ. It's vampires, and you know, what else? All you have to say is vampires and soulmates and etc. and I'm automatically intrigued. So I'm super excited to get to this one. A book that's a faction leader's favorite. And when I saw this and that it was new, I instantly had to pick it up because I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But that is In Every Generation by Kendra Blake. This was a pick from Leandra. She goes by Leandra the TBR 0. She is one of the leaders for the human team, and this was her pick, and I just thought that since I already had it on my TBR, that it was just a perfect fit. So that is why I went with this one. Okay, so a book that is my faction leader's favorite, or one of my faction leaders, is Brittany from Brittany's Reading. And she went with A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. I was gifted an ebook copy of this book. I want to say the end of last year, if not like around spooky season of last year. And I just didn't get the chance to pick it up. So I would love to pick it up for spooky season this year. And since it is a readathon just going into spooky season, I thought it would be a perfect fit. So, okay, so the last community prompt is the creator's favorite. And I went with Blood Debts by Terry J. Benton Walker. I don't know anything about this book, but the little synopsis that I read on Goodreads instantly had me intrigued. So I would love to see what this is about and see why Nell picked it as a favorite. Going into the vampire only prompts, we have a book with a red cover, and I have read this one before and I absolutely loved it. It's a super quick, simple, graphic novel that will be easy to, just get through fairly quickly. That is Fangs by Sarah Anderson. This is, like I said, a graphic novel of a vampire and a werewolf that are in love, and the different things that they face being what they are and being together. So I am super excited to get back into this one and reread it and just get all of the feels. The next prompt is a book with a title that starts with V, and I went with The Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. I have had this book on my TBR for geez, I think I was still in high school when I had got it, and I haven't read it at all. I have seen the movie, and I've seen that there's a TV show adaptation of it, so I would love to get to the series and, read it in the month of September and even possibly get to the TV series and rewatch the movie just for all the feels to get into the mood for spooky season. So I would be really happy if I got to read this entire series this month. Okay, so the next prompt is a book with blood on the cover or in the title, and I received this book from a family friend, and I don't know anything about it, but it's pretty short, so I thought it would be a fairly quick read for the readathon. But that is Blue Bloods by Melissa De La Cruz. This is the first book in the Blue Bloods series, so I think it would be a pretty fun quick read to get to, and it fits a TBR prompt. Okay, so the very last prompt is to read a book with vampires, and that could be anything that I picked for this TBR, really. But I thought to go with the original OG vampire, and that is Dracula by Bram Stoker. I have had this book on my TBR forever, and I thought that we would read it, in school, and we just never got to it. So I figured it's time to pick it up and to see what it's all about, and to say that I've read a horror classic. So I love this edition. It is just super pretty. It's got the, bats on the cover here, and then it has the vampires here, as well as the vampire on the back of the cover. But if I don't get to this one, I do have a smaller backup, and that is Dead Until Dark by Charlene Harris, which the TV show True Bloods is based off of. This is the first book in the Sookie Stackhouse series, and I have wanted to read this series for a while. My godmother has the entire series, and just seeing it on her shelves growing up, I'm like, I want to read this series, but she's like, you're not old enough to read it yet. So I think it's finally time to see what it's all about. So these are the two options for this prompt. And then just as kind of an extra little thing, I have my manga series that I'm currently in the middle of reading, and that is Rose and Blood. This is volume 3. I am loving this manga series. I have this one, and then I believe 2 more left, and then I'll read the whole series. But I thought that this would be like a fun little, you know, palette cleanser from reading all of these novels, and you know, it'd just be a perfect short little read for this readathon. And then lastly, I would love to read this entire series because I have not done it yet, but I have watched the show, but that is The Vampire Diaries, of course. You can't have a Vampire Diaries themed readathon without reading The Vampire Diaries itself. So I do have the first book, The Awakening by L.J. Smith. I would love to read this entire series in the month of September and to rewatch the TV show and just have just all of the fun getting into, you know, all of it. I believe there are going to be watch parties for The Vampire Diaries. I just don't know exactly what is in store for that as of right now, but that is my very ambitious Mystic Readathon TBR. I just cannot wait for it to be September so I can dive into these books and just have all of the fun and all of the vibes to get ready for spooky season. So yeah, stay tuned for another TBR video coming either sometime this week or mid-September for another readathon that's coming up. But until then, stay spooky, my friends, and I will see you guys in my next video.